Do your weekends just float by? Then have some fun at Metro North. Most weekends you'll find events like these that the whole family can enjoy. That's why all together, it's great shopping at Metro North.
Sitting at 1.3 million square feet of retail space and with 125 storefronts and 4 anchor locations, Metro North Mall would open in September of 1976. The mall would open as the only enclosed mall in the north side of Kansas City, as well as being the second largest mall in the area. While most malls only hosted 2 anchors, Metro North had 4. The center of the mall featured a very 1980s style center court area with a stage and a large pool surrounding it. The center court also featured 4 miniature hot air balloons suspended from the ceiling that would rise up and down. The mall would feature a 6-screen movie theater as well as a Nickelodeon arcade. The mall would see massive popularity, especially in the holiday seasons. At one point, mall management organized the usage of parking trams to influence customers to park further away from the mall. By the late 90s, the mall had reached such popularity that an additional 6 screens were added on to the movie theater. The mall had reached its peak with over 150 tenants. The mall was completely full. The late 1990s would also introduce the most competition for the mall. By this point, Kansas City had over 12 enclosed malls, and some of them began to show signs of struggling and would start to decline. By the year 2000, restaurants and other retail locations had rapidly popped up around the mall, which gave the owners ideas to build strip malls bordering Metro North. These strip malls were set up to directly compete with the mall. These strip malls would start to open in 2000, which would then start the slow death of the main mall structure. It was in 2001 that the mall would lose its first anchor, Montgomery Ward. This was due to the company declaring bankruptcy. But if you know anything about dying retail, you know that a mall essentially have a certain amount of lives, that being however many anchors they have. With Metro North having 4 anchors, the mall had 4 lives. Down to 3, the mall would quickly lose foot traffic and relevancy. This is what would end up happening. It was around this time, too, that all 12 screens of the movie theater would close. It wasn't long before a brand known as MC Sports would take up some space in the former Montgomery wards. However, this wouldn't matter. It's now 2004, and the nearby Zona Rosa is fully open, that being the competitor to the mall, a huge, massive outdoor shopping area. This is causing many of Metro North's tenants to relocate. By 2006, the mall's occupancy rate had fallen just 50%, and the mall would lose yet another anchor, the Jones store. However, the Jones store was quickly replaced by Macy's, which had bought out the old store. In 2007, the Dillard's anchor would be downsized to a clearance center, and the second story of the store would be closed. In 2008, the mall took a final blow when Dillard's announced they would be moving to Zona Rosa, and JCPenney announced that they would be closing for good. Just 1 year later, MC Sporting Goods would close, leaving Macy's as the only anchor remaining. In 2010, it was reported that the mall's occupancy rate had fallen to a shocking 17%, and it was continuing to decrease. This is when the mall's owners would start looking into redevelopment ideas. They would come to the conclusion to demolish the former mall and replace it with a smaller, 1-story mall at the cost of around $200 million. The redevelopment would face many setbacks, but by 2013, the plan was looking to be likely. In April of 2014, the day came that the owners, MD Management, announced that the mall would be shuttered on April 15th of that year. At the time of the closure, the mall's occupancy rate sat at 1.2%. Only 2 stores remained open. The mall would lock its doors for one final time, and the Macy's anchors, owned separately, would remain open. Like any abandoned mall, it wasn't long before people found their way inside. Scrappers got to work quickly gutting out any valuable metals that they could get their hands on. Strangely enough, vandals never really seemed to make their way inside. Photos of the mall from this time show rapid decay and damage from the scrappers, but there really is no obvious tagging. MD Management would abandon their plans for redevelopment, and the property would be sold to IAS Partners Ltd. They would acquire the former mall in April of 2015 and would release plans showing a mixed-use area with retail, housing, and office spaces. By August of 2016, the owners had achieved the necessary permits to demolish the former mall and replace it with an aforementioned mixed-use site. Just 3 months later, a well-known photographer, Seth Lawless, made his way inside and shot amazing pictures of the mall for his series Black Friday and the Autopsy of America, which documented the rapid downfall of American retail. The photos showed rapid deterioration in just 2 years of abandonment. The photos would go viral as just one final look at the mall prior to its impending demolition. The mall would then fittingly be given the name the Creepiest Mall in America. Seth Lawless himself would agree with that statement. By this point, demolition had finally began, starting just behind the Macy's, and by early 2017, the mall was gone, leaving just a Macy's left behind. Metro-North Crossing, the name given to the new development, began construction. That's where the story would end. Until just recently, on March 23, 2025, Macy's would close, finally killing off any remaining part of Metro-North Mall. Now, before we end this video, I did want to point out one strange thing that I found. If you go on Google Earth, Metro-North Mall is still there on satellite image, but as soon as you try to go into Street View, the mall is gone. You can still see the Macy's over there on the left-hand side, and you can also see some of the new apartments over there, but other than that, it's just a giant empty field. And with that, Metro-North's story comes to an end. It really is quite shocking to me just how quickly this mall declined. It hit its peak in the late 1990s, but by 2000, it really started to struggle. And the funny thing about all that is that the mall owners at the time did it to themselves. They just kept building more retail stores around the mall, and so it drove attention away from the aging structure. And one thing I find interesting is that reports from the time show that the demand for an enclosed shopping space never really left the area. People still wanted it. It just seems like the owners didn't handle that demand properly. I personally visited Metro-North when it was still open as a kid. However, I don't really remember it, but I do have memories at being at Zona Rosa, which is, the massive modern shopping complex that ultimately would kill Metro-North. So I guess that just shows which one the consumers like more, because I remember that one more than I remember Metro-North. All right, with all that being said, that is the end of this video. Please leave a comment if you have any feedback on my videos or any suggestions of anything that you want me to film. I'm pretty much willing to make a video about anything. And I am trying these more commentary style videos rather than full-blown explorations, which is what I was doing to begin with. Mainly just because personally, I've explored hundreds and hundreds of abandoned buildings, but personally I just don't find most of them interesting enough to film videos on. So I wanted to try out this commentary style of video because, right now I'm not in the position to go explore every building across the country. So let me know what you guys think. I do appreciate you guys watching. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to take YouTube a little more serious. So that is the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one.
Just don't even look at the camera. They did pretty good.
Let me hold the camera. Darren, you lay on the track. Steve, you ride in the train and I'll film.